hood, fender, roof, etc. The door is scratched. I had a couple different body shots to look at, and no one's seeing. Everyone says over 5,000, maybe $7,000-8,000 damage here, but definitely over the watermark for a car sales car, which is about 1,500, give or take a little bit for a car. If it's less than that, they can potentially sell the car to a directed client. Otherwise, Enterprise Car Sales has a strict policy where they would take that car and fix it, wholesale sell it. Now, everyone at Enterprise has told me that the Lacey, Washington branch messed up, where they were supposed to take this car and pull it out of the fleet at the time of the incident, file a damage report, fix it, re-rent it, or fix it and wholesale sell it at that time. This is problematic for me because, again, this is a vulnerability and a potential a safety issue for myself as well as everyone else on the roadway when I'm driving this damaged vehicle around with $7,000 of unfixed damage for the winter. The vehicle does not belong to me. I'm not positioned to organize that fix. The insurance information had been provided. They had been CC'd on the email. Physically, the car was brought to their location. The fact that they did not take action on it, I don't know how Enterprise works though. I'm not a big Enterprise customer. I was told by car sales in multiple different places that, and also right when this happened, I did go to a car sales in Washington State, and that's what they told me as well. And they said, they shook their head, they said, and that's what they've always said, they cannot rent you the car like that. I was happy to be in the car. Fast forward to the issue where I'm trying to switch the car out, potentially see if it can get processed and sold to me or not, and they simply do not have cars available, full-size Class 4 switch out. I'm trying, nowhere can I do this, and Los Angeles Airport, Enterprise Rental Car says they've got availability, very big fleet. I talk on the phone and I email with William, the branch manager. I head down there. It should be ready for the switch out. I get there and they say their damage report is not on the file. I cannot switch out the unit without a damage report, and I'll form a log on Enterprise's internal system with regard to the incident with the tree. Now I said, well, I got my laptop in the car. I've got my email. I've got the claim number. I can pull up that stuff and give you that stuff. If William and Enterprise don't have that in the system, maybe they made a mistake. Can we still switch out a car? And someone else is there switching out a car. I know that they have availability, and they say, no, you can't do that. And Washington messed up. Washington made a mistake. This is the first time, besides some comments from car sales and a couple other places where I tried to switch the car out, where I really began to see the light, where Enterprise actually tells me, hey, this is a vulnerability and a safety issue, and this is against our policy for you to be in this rig, because what if another accident happened in that area of the car where the tree hit the car, has structurally compromised the car, it becomes a safety thing for yourself as well as other people on the roadway, where this vehicle should not be part of our fleet. It's not eligible of our fleet. It's a mistake to be renting to you. Decline. Now that made sense to me when it was explained to me that way. I certainly was not responsible for renting it to me, and I did not obviously make a fight about renting it. I was happy to rent it. It was a great car, and it didn't bother me as a cosmetic damage. Up until this point, it began to bother me at that point though. After the LAX switch out, William and the branch said that someone else incorporated, his manager's manager or someone else, changed my contract. So without any sort of and no one even gave me any documentation with regard to this. There had been a conversation about changing the contract to an 8,000 mile a month contract, not an unlimited amount once we switched out the car. However, we were failed in switching out the car because of the lack of a damage report and how they did not follow due process in Washington State with regard to the tree incident. So I'm down there. I drove all the way to Los Angeles Airport from the Bay, and I'm like, this is a shit show. How am I down here and they've got the car, they don't have the right paperwork? Bullshit, And I was treated poorly there, and I was very upset about the experience. And in the middle of the night, I transparently emailed all of the information to the guys up there in Washington. I said, hey, this is what's going on. This is what you need to do. You need to call down here, help me coordinate this. You need to update the file with the damage report with regard to the car. I didn't even know it was technically called the damage report then, with regard to the incident, the paperwork you need. And I re-forwarded him that information, and instead of doing all that, they A, changed my contract, and then B, at first they said, let's still do it in LA, and then I said, well, hey, I can't go back to LA until you put the paperwork with regard to the insurance thing on the file, and you need to call them. And I gave them the phone number via email. I gave them the phone number of Santa Barbara. I pointed out how I stopped in Ventura, I stopped in some other places, looking for available cars for me to switch out to, and instead they changed my contract without telling me or having anything written down or any signature or anything like that. They tried to change my contract in a outright fraudulent way, trying to limit the miles of the car. In other words, trying to penalize me for their mistakes without doing a damage report in a reactive way, trying to penalize me, the client, because they had not filed the damage report back in October, and LAX, etc., was saying that they messed up. So now they penalize me, the client, and they say I have only 2 days from now. I was up in the Bay Area, California, between the LA and the Bay, to drive the car all the way to their branch in Lacey, Washington, to do a switch out. And I had said, hey, maybe I need to just drive up there. But I was talking about weeks, you know what I mean? And I had just had my schedule disrupted to go to LA for the day. And I was like, in a couple of weeks. And that's why I said, he said, no, you have to be here in 2 days. By Friday, or we're changing your contract. I mean, this whole talk of changing the contract, I talked to lots of people at Enterprise as well as the 1-800 number. Any effort to change that contract while you're in the contract is inconsistent as well with Enterprise's policy. So in other words, place where the Washington State team has diverged in a way that's setting the larger company of Enterprise up for failure by them not following due process, if that makes sense. So there's a couple different problems there with them. But I underline and circle, they're trying to penalize me, the client, have me drive the vehicle in a way that's against their policies, because they have branches everywhere. I should be able to switch out the car anywhere. They should be able to coordinate that. Why do I have to go to Washington State from California at my own time and expense, right? And B, it's not even safe. Look how far that drive is. In 2 days, that's not enough time to do that drive. And it's disrupting my schedule and everything like that. But then 3, it becomes a criminal thing because it looks like they're tampering with and suppressing evidence, which is the damage of the car, how they didn't follow due process, and how they are felony level tampering. It's trying to suppress the damage of this vehicle. As alluded to in the other video comment too, there's the issue with this vehicle, with the damage on it. Is there not a proper log on that damage, not just for me, but for the next client who looks at this car? There needs to be some sort of a record of what happened with this car, and not just me getting the car rented to me in a fraudulent way, but like LAX said, they shouldn't have been renting you the car. Like Carcel said, they shouldn't have been renting you the car. You've been paying for a car, and I've been paying for a car that is 100% good. They've no problems, and this car has problems. So it's falsely and fraudulently recorded in their system as a car with no issues, where the truth is they knew that there was the issue with the tree claim, etc. So, and then I'm in that position, well, we got to talk to corporate. We got to get through someone who's a supervisor of these guys. They've gone AWOL. They're putting me in an unsafe thing. They're making criminal demands. They're trying to tamper and suppress. They're trying to get me to drive all the way from California to Washington in 2 days, and they're doing things that have clearly diverged, as per my conversations with the 1-800 number and numerous people in California, as well as LAX Airport, with Enterprise's policies and doing things in a way inconsistent with our contract by also fraudulently trying to change our contract without, because I was at LAX. After that, I drove up a couple of days and I went to pay for another week, and the numbers were changed, and I was like, hey, what's going on? I need to get through to someone. I didn't agree with this. You need to help me coordinate the car. Why are you changing the contract, telling me to drive to Washington? Why aren't you updating the contract with the insurance information so that I can switch the car out, A, and then B, why are you not making a couple phone calls to help coordinate that to those area branches? Where are the phone numbers? And I have a record of it via email. Santa Barbara, Los Angeles, etc. had been provided to that branch manager, so he failed at all of that. Now, let's fast forward to this other issue we're at now. Several weeks go by. I leave phone messages and emails with regional management. I don't hear back from them. They don't want to own the issue. Catherine something or other, who says she's out in training, is the reply I get. So I am ceaselessly spending tons of my time and energy trying to get through to corporate in St. Louis. I talked to a guy in corporate. He says someone based in corporate management in St. Louis, not in Washington State, and the issues and the mistakes have been unanimously acknowledged by Enterprise people. In other words, everyone's saying that these are ways that they have diverged in terms of not doing things the way Enterprise is supposed to do them. So these are mistakes. Enterprise isn't a bad company. These are mistakes within the company with some people who messed up, and they're trying to cover how they messed up by penalizing a client. So I do understand that. I'm not throwing Enterprise under the bus. I'm accurately relating and transparently relating what I am personally running into here with this situation, this rental. So, and then, the stickers are invalid on the car. Hey, we pulled over a couple months ago, and someone said it didn't come back to anything. I got pulled over again, and they said, you need to have a sticker on the car per California law. So this is another issue. And then I had brought up at a couple of the branches, and I brought it up to this guy, Troy Klimo, who was the vice president, who had never picked up his phone. His phone goes to a lady, Magda or something, and I was emailing him. I was trying to get through to him, hoping that he was the guy to talk to. Supervisor Catherine. Catherine had emailed. She was out of office in training, was unresponsive as well, and I stopped paying Enterprise because they had changed the contract fraudulently, and I said I had no problem paying the exact same contract, unlimited miles, in the same amount per week. But if you change the contract, that is a fraud, which is a crime, because I did not sign anything with regard to that. You can't just change a contract. This isn't a bikini coffee shop with no prices on the wall up there in Renton, Washington. This is the American people in a contract, right? So I am patiently waiting to hear back from them. Ceaselessly calling corporate. Corporate tells me someone at a corporate St. Louis management will get back to me. And I wait, I call again. This Troy sends an email. He says he's going to try to call me. I can never get through to him. I've got a record of tons of calls. His message machine goes to this woman Magna. He's never there, and he's a gutless coward, is my impression, because he is the one, his way it looks like, had changed the contract in a fraudulent way. Now let's fast forward. I tell him via email, one of the other issues with this unit is that the stickers are invalid. I just got pulled over again. I need to have a sticker on the car as per the law to be driving the car. And this is one of the other issues. And I say, hey, I'm pretty upset. I looked at vehicle transfer fees, and when I stopped in Bend, Oregon, coming up on a couple other locations, I had them update on the file some notes with regard to this. Hey, you guys, look at these vehicle transfer fees for your sold cars. If I'm driving this car around and you're trying to bill me and try to change my contract and charge me per mile, I'm doing these long drives from the Bay to LA and then back up towards Washington State for you, the company, not because I want to go up there. I'm going there for you to try to find vehicles in your fleet to transfer out to. We coordinated. There aren't cars there. You need to be penalized, not me. So I'm like, look at your vehicle transfer fee. It's $1,500 from the Bay to LA for a sold car. You owe me $1,500 down, $1,500 back. I stopped at a dozen places trying to switch out the car. You can't coordinate that. You can't update that information on your insurance. So yeah, me, the client, I was maybe becoming a little bit, not really, I wouldn't say combative because it was through email or whatever, but assertive. You know what I mean? And absolutely, I think as a client, if you're dealing with a company that's committing a crime, which is fraud and changing the contract, and then diverging from the company's actually policies and your contract with the company, you absolutely have a right to be assertive and say, hey, this isn't the way to do things. You guys owe me. You can't change the contract and try to screw me, the client, over, if that makes sense. So let's fast forward, and he says, he sends me this email back and says, after I alert him to the fact that the stickers are invalid, you have 72 hours or this car is considered stolen. And I'm like, bullshit. Again, this is an effort of them trying to say that I, the client, trying to penalize me, the client, for their mistake. They don't have valid stickers on the car, and I had a cop tell me it didn't come back to anything, it wasn't registered. Now, after I alerted Enterprise to the issue, it began to come back as something when I called the cops as registered. Regardless, I don't have the sticker on the unit, and I need a sticker on the unit. Who's got the sticker? Whose car is this? I don't know. I emailed the branch, I emailed Catherine, who was the regional manager, I called and emailed corporate in St. Louis, I called and emailed Troy. You need to put a sticker on the car. I'm driving the car down the road. I can get criminally penalized. You at Enterprise are demanding I commit a crime for you. When you say you have 72 hours to deliver the car, you're going to drive the car, drop it at our branch, right? So what the fuck, you know what I mean? And so I have to commit a crime for them at my time and expense, or I'm going to be stolen a car. Now, there's no stealing a car anywhere. The only reason we stopped paying the contract a few weeks ago is because they changed the contract in a fraudulent and criminal way, and I was getting through to corporate because LAX Airport told me that I should do that. Other people told me I should do that, and they all told me I should do that because Washington State Enterprise had diverged from their policies and was doing things the other way. This vehicle is criminal evidence, and for them to try to take this vehicle back without a proper log in the file of the issue and the insurance claim is an effort by the Washington State General Group there of collusion, tampering, and suppression on the felony level of criminal evidence of them not following correct procedure back when this incident happened and involving the insurance claim, and now when it was re-forwarded to them, why they still haven't done it. It's felony level suppression and tampering.